everybody. Welcome to Fantasy Hockey Picks and Bets right here on the Mayo Media Network. Happy Monday. Hopefully you had a fantastic weekend. I am Chris Meaney, joined by Eric Young. What is up, EY?
He is underway. It is definitely not going to be smooth sailing. Let's not kid ourselves. But, man, it is a lot of hockey all the time, and you are looking at one happy person.
Yeah, you must be happy. Preds are 2-0. Leafs bounce back after a win against or a loss against Ottawa in the first of two. Yeah, busy all the time here. And I love it. There's lots of hockey. There's 10 games on the ice today. If you're just new to the show, welcome. Thanks for taking the time to hang out. Please like, subscribe, leave a comment in the YouTube section on maybe your favorite pick for the day, your favorite player, your favorite waiver wire pickup. Maybe you have a question in your season-long leagues. You're unsure if you should trade a guy, give up on a guy. It's only been a week, but I know I'm getting the questions. What's going on with this player? Need to drop him. What's happening? Oh, my goodness. You know you get that stuff too, Eric.
Yeah. I mean, first day, like star players, like, oh, he only got one assist. Well, should I move on? I was like, dude, it's been one game. Like,
can you guess who the guy who's been dropped the most today? Just, you know, we're coming at you early on a Monday, so there's only a couple hours for people to wake up and drop. But if you dig deep and you think about last year and who has dropped a ton, and somebody we talked about a lot picked up and dropped all year, who do you think it is?
Is it Duclair again?
It's Anthony Duclair again.
Fools.
The most dropped player. I mean, the Panthers have only played one game, right?
One game.
They had the 2 games postponed against Dallas. They played against the Hawks last night, and they beat them 5-2. But, you know, all the reports of Duclair playing with the big boys actually had Barkov and Huberdeau split up a bit, and that's probably something that they may do. I mean, losing Dadonov and Hoffman, but Duclair is the most dropped player. Dominic Kubalik, Dylan Strome, and then a bunch of random defensemen. Dadonov is in there too as a drop player who I do like.
Yeah,
any of those guys that you have? Do you have any of those guys?
I have Dadonov in a few places, and I'm going to hold on to him. I still like him. I think, when they settle in, he's still going to be on, top 6 power play time. He's a very effective player.
Yeah, in this list, the Strome boys, I would actually keep both of them. They're right in here, Ryan and Dylan. Dylan for Chicago. I know that the Blackhawks stink, but he's got 2 points in 3 games. He's got an opportunity to really play there.
He's going to play a ton, right? He's going to play with Patrick Kane.
Yeah, and
sign me up.
I would hang on to as well. We'll get to a couple ads maybe towards the end of the show that you and I have. So again, if you are new to the show, thank you so much. Please, as Mayo says, smash that like button. We have $100 giveaway already. Pat is giving away more bucks, and it's not Canadian fake Monopoly money. It is real US dollars. Mike Singe _ is the first winner of $100. And if you want to get in on more draws, all you got to do is rate, review, subscribe, leave 5 stars, leave your email. So if you're an Apple Podcast listener, leave your email there for Pat, and he's going to give away more money this week. So more draws happening. So love all the support. Thank you guys so much. If you followed Eric and I last year on 4 Stack Lines or any of our work, something that he and I like to do is just take a look at teams that play 4 games for the week to help you guys get the advantage. It's called 4-game streams. Take a look at teams that are playing 2 games. So if you're just hanging on to a player that's only going to play 2 games, why not drop him for a guy that's going to play 4 or 5? That's kind of how you and I roll with streamers, right? If you're in a shallow league, 8 teams, 10 teams, you probably aren't going to have that sort of strategy. But you're playing in deeper leagues, head-to-head formats. You got numerous amounts of moves for the season. You don't got to worry about that. 4 moves of the week. Why not take advantage of those moves? So moving forward, we'll dive into that. This is like a 2-week period with fantasy hockey, how it started on the Wednesday. So most leagues are just stretched long. I won't dive into it too deep, but Eric, I was taking a look. There are a ton of teams that play 4 games. At least 19 play 4 games this week. So you really aren't going to find the advantage, but there's the only team to play 5 games for the week. It's the Winnipeg Jets. And something that you and I like to look at, do they start the week strong? They do. They play tonight and they play tomorrow. They play midweek, and then they play Saturday and Sunday. They're only one of 3 teams to play Saturday and Sunday. So you get those weekend games in there as well. Any Jets stand out to you? I was looking at Paul Stastny. His ownership is around 20% in Yahoo leagues. He's centering what I think the Jets' 2 best snipers in Connor and Laine, and then Josh Morrissey, who played almost half the game on the blue line in the Jets' most recent game. Any interest in those two, knowing that Winnipeg plays 5 games this week?
Yeah, especially with the 5 games. Like, look, it's just about, opportunity and ice time and playing in the right place. Morrissey's playing a ton, obviously playing on the power play. Anybody that's going to play with Patrick Laine this year, we talked about it in the first show. And I said, he's a guy that I really believe in this year. And, and a lot of people are like, oh, I don't listen to narrative, follow the numbers, this, that, and the other. What I do is I listen to narrative and I follow the money. Patrick Laine is playing for his future. If you don't think that's motivating, I don't know if he does or he doesn't want to play in Winnipeg, but he definitely wants a big money deal. Well, you got to perform. If you want the cash, you got to show it in the numbers. I think Patrick Laine is going to be a monster, and anyone that plays with him, sign me up.
Yeah, he scored 2 goals in his opener. Is it something to keep an eye on that he wasn't able to practice yesterday? I think he took part. And then he left, but there's no real word on anything there. I know the Jets had to cancel a couple practices, at least one, due to just like COVID scares. So keep an eye on that. I'm not sure if he's going to suit up tonight or not, but I still like Paul Stastny as a deep league streamer potentially. This guy is going to have 5 games. Calgary is the only team to play twice. So if you're hanging on to Dylan Dubé, who's playing in that top role, maybe that's a guy that that's an example, right? Do you want 2 games of who's hit the score sheet twice? Do you want 2 games of him, or do you want 5 games of Paul Stastny? Just little things that Eric and I will talk about through the show. Before we get to the picks today and a few DFS picks for you guys, I got some props as well. Just wanted to run through some news notes and the injuries. Sean Couturier is going to be out at least 2 weeks. Morgan Frost is going to take his spot at center. He's going to play between JVR and Voracek. And they're going to keep Giroux, Hayes, and Farabee together. Why not? Oliver Ekman-Larsson ruled out through at least Thursday. He's on IR. This was a bust for me. I'm not a huge – I do like him. He's not playing on a great team. I think he's slightly overrated in terms of fantasy. I don't know if I'd even hang on to him, to be honest, but you have an IR spot you can hold. Andre Kasha, doubtful. This is a doubtful to play today. This is a guy who's just been pretty frustrating. Eric hasn't been able to live up to the fantasy hockey hype, the analytic hype that a lot of people have for this guy. Nicholas Robertson, your boy, knee injury is scheduled for MRI. Kasperi Kapanen off COVID protocol, so we could see him pretty soon. Mike Smith, long-term IR. Jason Spezza, waived. JT Miller, good to go tonight, and Quinn Hughes missed practice. What do you take away from all of that stuff?
The JT Miller thing, I think this is the guy that drives this team. He's the engine of the Vancouver Canucks, and you can see it. When he's not playing, they are a slightly different team. Having him back in the lineup is going to change their fortunes and change it for the better. He had an unbelievable year last year, and I think he's going to do the same this year.
I like that. Yeah, Miller's a stud. Okay, so let's get into tonight. So many games, right? 10 games. This is awesome. We got the afternoon, 12 Eastern, Columbus and Detroit, the Red Wings. We were just, you and I and Maddie, our guy producer, Matt Best, we were debating on who is the worst team in the league. Detroit is certainly right there. They did pick up OW, though. They got the split against the Hurricanes. Columbus lost both games against the Preds. You probably watched both of those games. You saw Columbus. What do you make tonight? We got the Blue Jackets, one of the heaviest favorites on the board today, minus 165. The total is 5.5. Red Wings home dogs plus 140. I feel like Columbus gets their first win today.
Yeah. We were talking about the first game. Like, I get they're going to win. Look, they're a professional hockey team. Other teams are going to come in. They're going to win some games and stuff. But man, 12 shots a net for an entire NHL game when Detroit was playing from behind the entire game. You got a guy making $9 million on your team. It's just unacceptable. And anytime a team is playing Detroit home or away, I don't think that makes much of a difference this year. Like we saw in the bubble, it was, a lot of times the away team won, and which we didn't think was going to happen because the coach has last change. But I think home ice advantage, it's not going to exist this year. There is no energy to get. You're hearing crowd noise, but they're hearing nothing. It's like me playing rec league on Wednesday night. There's nobody there watching. You're on your own. It doesn't mean the players aren't going to compete and it's not going to be good, but it's for me, with Detroit, I'm starting guys in my lineup anytime they play Detroit. And I'm always on the other side of the bet. And I think 5.5, the over under, that's right. I don't know, man. It's tempting to go over. I think Columbus is really going to show up, but I mean, Columbus doesn't score a ton, so maybe, I don't know. That's a weird one for me. I was thinking about it most of the morning.
I think I would lean with the under. Yeah, I think
Yeah.
I just how much offense is Detroit going to be able to muster? And you're right, Columbus doesn't score a whole lot, and Korpisalo, Elvis, both of these guys are studs, right? They're both pretty solid goalies. You said you're a guy that follows narratives. You're an athlete. Pierre-Luc Dubois. I mean, there's been so many reports and rumors. I'm sure he's a distraction in the room. Tort says he wants to go. He's got to go. He doesn't want to be here. He's been honest. I wish he'd be a little bit more honest on why he wants to leave. Do you think he's gone soon? Do you think they play this out? They're patient with it. How would you again, you're the athlete. It has to be a distraction in the room for the guys, knowing that this guy does not want to be there.
Yeah, I think that's for sure. It's a distraction. He said all the right things, like, you're gonna get the best me, and I'm gonna compete, and he is. There's no doubt. But I think there is a difference when you're motivated to not be there. What are you really working for? You don't care about Columbus. You don't care about winning in Columbus. You know what I mean? I feel like saying that you don't want to be there. I don't think it has anything to do with his teammates. I don't think it might have something to do with Tortorella. It's just, we've seen this before. People don't want to play in Columbus. You hear sometimes, like, Seth Jones talks very highly of it, and a lot of the players love it in Columbus. Other players, they get in and they want out right away. So I don't know. It's a weird situation to be in. There's no doubt in my mind that it is a distraction, and he's got no points on the season. He got some money. It's a short, kind of a bridge deal. And now he needs to be playing to sell himself to these other teams, wherever it is that he wants to go. We don't know. I mean, it's definitely a distraction, and it's unfortunate, because I was really hoping for PLD to have a big year this year.
Yeah, it's too bad that it doesn't seem like a lot of people want to play there. I mean, Bobrovsky was probably a good thing that he didn't want to play there. They didn't spend all that money on him, but they lost Panarin and they lost Duchesne. They've lost a few players over the past couple of years. Now Pierre-Luc Dubois. So if you're playing in a showdown, any afternoon stuff, I think, you go to Pierre-Luc Dubois, you go to Oliver Bjorkstrand. Those are my two favorite Columbus players. They're playing together. They're both volume shooters. A good spot for them to bounce back tonight. I think so. I like Columbus. It's one of my favorite picks. If you're listening here early, you get on them. I think you could even take them on the puck line tonight. I think they show up like a 4-1 game, a 3-1 game. I do like the under, and Columbus just maybe potentially on the money line, some juice there. All right, let's move over to some afternoon games here, or some after the afternoon games. Let's start with the Bruins and the Islanders. Both teams got the split. Boston took the first game against the Devils. They lost the second game. They did get a point out of that one. They're minus 125 on the money line. The Islanders, another team here, home dogs. What do you make of this contest? This is tough, man. I told Cam on Friday I'd typically stay away from the Islanders. It was a good call from him, the bounce back game with the Rangers. Any feel between these two teams?
It's tough, you know what I mean? And it's, betting and guessing at this point. A lot of these guys, this is the longest that, for a huge amount of the players, this is the longest it's been in between playing actual competitive hockey, probably in their entire lives. That is a factor. Teams that, like the Islanders, that play, a very structured game, a defensive game. I think a lot of people were believing, this kind of play was going to, be better for them. And I don't know for sure we're seeing that. I think we're seeing teams that score are scoring like crazy because the defensive structure isn't there, because they haven't been playing and they haven't been practicing, and they're not going to practice. So you can talk about being defensively structured, but if you're not practicing it, getting the reps, practicing formations and learning what another player is going to do at certain times, defensive structure is, it can be taught, but it doesn't just happen overnight. And they're not going to practice a lot this year. There was a very shortened training camp. So it's really weird. This is a really weird season. After the first game, you're thinking, oh man, here come, the Islanders may not lose a game. That's what it looked like. And the Rangers bounced back and beat them the next time they played. So it's a wild, man. It's going to be a wild season. And like we were saying earlier, people dropping players right away, and me and you, and then everyone formulated their opinions, and they're changing quick. It seems like opinions are changing game to game. I still believe in the Oilers, and that's just simply because Barry Trotz.
Yeah, if I was to choose, I would go with the under. I mean, the Bruins, they're still without Pasternak, right? That top line is not the same, right?
Yep.
And the Islanders with Varlamov, he had the shutout in the first game. You got Raskin there, expected to start. Bruins got 4 goals in 2 games. I don't know. I would, and they've only given up 4 and 2, so I would lean with the under. But it is a stay away for me. I'm more interested in this next game, and I'm sure you are as well. Winnipeg and Toronto. We got the total at 6.5. Lots of goals. Leafs 159 on the money line. The Jets 130. Leafs 0-3 against the spread. What do you make so far of the Leafs?
I mean, it feels like it's kind of a lot of the same. You know what I mean? Like, I feel this defensive core is the best that they've had in the last couple of years. Brody had a really, a decent game in the first game, and then the second game, oh geez, I mean, against Ottawa, he looked really bad. I mean, really bad, to the point where, like, I think it was Ray Ferraro on the TSN broadcast was literally calling him out on the broadcast.
He does that sometimes, doesn't he?
Yeah, and it's, like, I kind of noticed it, and then he was talking about it, and like, he didn't throw him under the bus. He wasn't saying anything that wasn't true. But I mean, you don't see that a lot in hockey. I love Ray Ferraro. That's awesome. He's being completely honest. I mean, it's not like TJ Brody's a bad player, but man, did he have a bad game against Ottawa? Like a really, really bad game. And a guy that's going to be on the ice that much, it's kind of terrifying. I don't think that's who TJ Brody is, but I mean, the Leafs, even when they get down, like, they're going to score. We've seen that already. I think that's going to be what it is all year. They're going to be able to score, that, especially if they get on the power play, you get into trouble with them. So yeah, I mean, I really like the over in this game because I believe Winnipeg can score as well.
Yes, they can. They have 2 really strong lines. And just taking a look, I know it's early, but we will be diving into, at least I'll be diving into, like, high danger chances against 5-on-5 scoring chances, who's controlling the puck. It's real early, so we don't have a ton of data, but so far the Leafs top 5 in high danger chances allowed. Scoring chances, top 10. The Jets have only played 1 game, so we don't have a lot of data there. But last year, they were among the leaders in high danger chances. I think it was you and I who talked about Connor Hellebuck. Like, nobody has seen more rubber than him over the last 3 years. Yes, he starts a lot, but the Jets defense, not the same from 2 years ago. They lost a lot of guys on that blue line.
They didn't do anything.
Trouba and Bufflin, right? Like, these guys, they're still kind of regrouping from losing those 2 guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I like the over. Matt, do you got a feel on this, on the Leafs and Jets tonight?
I like the over a lot. I'm gonna go with a cheeky little prop with a William Nylander first goal. That's what I'm feeling there. I don't want to pay the juice on Tavares. I don't want to pay the juice on Matthews. I might do a Zach Hyman anytime goal. He's been buzzing lately too. Other than that, yeah, it feels like the same old Toronto, but with just a slightly better decor.
Yeah, I would agree. Yeah, Bjorkstrad and Pierre-Luc Dubois for first goals. Good long shots there, 10-1, 11-1. I like that call, Matty, for sure. I think the Leafs win the game. They would be my pick, but I definitely like the over. I just think we've seen this. It's a small sample size, but this North Division, Eric, goals.
Yeah.
Like, tons of goals so far.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think we were all thinking it and hoping it was going to be happening because, I mean, goals make it exciting. Guys get up. A couple of years ago, you get up 2 goals and the game is over. Like, it just was hard to come back from something like that. Now it's like, 2-goal lead is really nothing, especially in the North. It's exciting, man. So far, it's kind of like watching junior hockey a little bit. There's so many more mistakes because no training camp and all the time off for a lot of the players. So it's I've really enjoyed it. It's still NHL hockey. It's awesome. It's fast. It's an unreal product. But there's in the North, I think we're going to see the most goals out of any of these divisions.
I agree. Keep an eye on Line, like I said, the news, but his shot prop 2.5 minus 139. I like that one quite a bit. He's a volume shooter. He just loves to shoot the puck. He can't help himself. And this is, I always love when Matthews and Line go head to head. It just seems like they always put on a show. Both of those guys. First goals, Matty gave a good one. I'll go to Line again, right? I mean, 13-1 for just a volume shooter and a sniper. I have a lot of interest in that prop. There's no question. Buffalo and Philly next. Flyers 2-0. they took care of the Penguins pretty easily. I watched both of those games. I have a lot of questions about the Penguins. They finally bounced back. They got a win against the Caps last night, but Pittsburgh 2-0 to start the season. Buffalo 0-2 to start the season, -165 money line for the Flyers, 140 for the Sabres. Mentioned Cam. We were both on the Sabres on Friday. I thought they played a really good game against Washington. They were all over them for a good part of the second period, and then into the third, they got a late goal to tie it, and then the Caps took the lead back. It's hard to bet against the Flyers, man. Even with Sean Couturier out of the lineup, this is a deep hockey team.
Yeah. I think the real thing is you're getting back Oscar Lindbaum, who's a very good player that can play all over the lineup. Nolan Patrick, who didn't play last year. They somehow the rich get richer. The team was already good, and then you get these two really, really good players back. Young guys like Farabee, Frost is going to step in and play. Those are young players, but they're good players. And in my opinion, Carter Hart, really good year last year, and I think he's going to be in the Vezina talk this year. I believe that 100%. I said it during the first show. Philadelphia is my pick to play in the Stanley Cup. I put my money where my mouth is. I bet on them playing in the final. We also talked, Chris, about me putting money on Ottawa because I'm a sucker for punishment. The odds were just too good. $10.
Yeah, no doubt they're good. They're good for a reason.
I know they're good for a reason, but if there's a year to bet on the Ottawa Senators, this is it, because man, it's madness. Anything can happen. Guys are going to get sick. People are going to get COVID. Guys are going to get hurt. We haven't seen anything yet. It is going to be absolutely insanity for betting, especially for fantasy. We saw it in football, and I think with hockey, because there's so many more players and guys that can contribute and stuff that can happen, we're going to see it's going to be even crazier this year. I believe that. I don't want it to be like that, but man, it's going to be a wild ride. Hold on tight.
It will be. Those odds may get better as the season goes. I was talking to Matt about the Habs at 34-1. I bet them to win the cup. They're now 18-1. It's been like 3 weeks since I made that bet. I think nice. A lot of people are starting to lay some juice on them. Just to hammer home how good the Sabres played in those two games, despite getting any wins. They've allowed so far the fewest scoring chances and the 5th fewest high danger scoring chances at 5-on-5 playing a Capitals team. Right? Who they have a lot of offensive firepower on that squad. Yeah. I think the play here is the under. Carter Hart is great. He's the real deal. And, they may miss Couturier a little bit. I still, even though the Flyers lit up the Penguins in those first two games, I don't view them as a crazy high scoring team. I don't know. Maybe that's weird to say. I still feel like Alain Vigneault, and they have this system that they play, but I like the under. The total's at 6. I could see a 2-1 hockey game here. I could see a low scoring game. So give me the under. That's kind of how I'm leaning here with that one. We can move along if there's anything else that you want to add from that one. Are you good? Or you want to talk about your Preds?
No, I like that. Onward and upward, buddy.
You want to talk about your Preds. Home dogs here today, 2-0. What have you seen so far from them?
I think the biggest thing, and you always want this to happen, is that the additions are showing up already. Kunin looks really good. Like, look at, he's not going to score 40 goals or anything like that, but he does look like a difference maker. And add some speed to this team that was much needed. But I think a big difference is going to be a healthy Victor Arvidsson and a very motivated, and it looks like kind of pissed off Philip Forsberg. He looks, I believe this will be his best statistical total. I'm not going to say it. I'm going to say it one time, barring injury. Of course, if he gets hurt, then I'm wrong. But it's professional sports, full contact hockey. Guys are going to get hurt. But if he stays hurt and, he's only out of the lineup for, from nicks and bruises a couple times out of the year, I think he has his best, relatively speaking, because they're only playing 56 games. But I think, percentage wise, he has his best statistical year.
You and I love Arvidsson, right? I can't say anything bad about Forsberg. He's an absolute stud. He's got a goal in each of his first 2 games. He's a sniper. He's somebody who got disrespected in season-long drafts. I don't think his price is where it should be in daily. He's a volume shooter. Again, another guy that I like volume shooters. Can you tell? I like guys who like to shoot the puck. And Philip Forsberg is one of those guys. So what about UC Saros? What have you seen from it? Like, is Pekka Rinne just I don't want to say he's dust, but man, Saros, that's his net. When we were together the last night of the NHL in Montreal, and we were talking about UC Saros and how he just completely took over the net. And it was something that you had seen coming for a while.
Yeah, I mean, it was definitely a split. It started last year.
Yeah.
Pekka was considered the starter, but Saros was playing a lot. And that was weird because, I mean, Reino was a guy that didn't come out of the net. I mean, he literally played every game except for back-to-backs, and sometimes would play back-to-backs. That's obviously changing. You know, he's an older goalie, you know, really tall, had problems with his hips before, but kind of changed his style and then had this resurgence. Everyone thought he was kind of cooked. I think right now teams are trying to stockpile as many wins as possible. No, we talked about it during the first show. You lose 4 or 5 games in a row, you might be out. I mean, it's going to be very difficult to make up that ground in a shortened season like this. So they're trying to stockpile wins, I think, at this point. But I think in a week or two, you're going to see a lot. I mean, I don't know. I have nothing to base this on. It's just speculation, but I think you're going to see a lot of 50-50 splits. I think Saros is going to go until they're kind of their first back-to-back. Then you'll see Rene come off the bench, and then I think it'll be a split. I think, yes, Saros is the starter at this point. Rene is the backup, and they're going to ride Saros as long as he can get wins. But at some point, it's going to become more of a split because they're playing so close together. This has never happened in the NHL before, so everyone's just kind of learning as they go.
Yeah, and you see Saros have kind of available in leagues. Like, he doesn't have a high ownership. I mean, he's hovering around, I think, 60% ESPN leagues for anybody who plays over there. Yahoo's is a bit higher. I believe he's around 80%. I like the under in this game as well. Like, I like a lot of overs usually, but if I'm going to pick any unders today, like Boston, New York, under. This one, Carolina, Nashville, under. And this next game is probably my favorite on the board. San Jose and St. Louis, heavy favorites, the Blues here, but I think you can grab them on the puck line. I really do think so. It's only been 2 games again. I'll throw that out there, the sample size, but I watched both of the Sharks games against Arizona, and it was fast paced. There were a lot of scoring chances on both sides, so I don't want to take into too much out of that game. But last year, the Sharks, I know they had a lot of injuries. They were missing a lot of guys, right? Carlson wasn't healthy. He wasn't playing. Meyer wasn't himself. Kane was out of the lineup. Couture is out of the lineup. There's another guy Meyer was out of the lineup. Like, Hurdle, was out of the lineup. Like, had so many injuries. I think they're a bounce back team. I think they're going to be a lot better than what they were last year. And Erik Karlsson, man, his first game, he was looking real nice and fresh and played a lot of hockey. But the last time we saw the Blues, they lost 8-0 to Colorado. I think they bounce back here. And so far in the season, the Sharks allowing the second most high danger chances at 5-on-5, the second most scoring chances, the second most shots, a lot of rubber. I really like this Blues team, man. I like their offense. I think they're loaded. Mike Hoffman back in the lineup. I like David Perron. I like his price on DK, which we'll get into. And I like his shot prop at 2.5. It is plus money at 2.5, David Perron. So I like the Blues here tonight, man. I think they win. The total's at 6. I understand that you're really going to have to lay a lot of juice. Maybe it's not for you, but you can put it into a parlay. Give a parlay at the end of this show. I think like I said, I think you could take them on the puck line. Am I wrong here in thinking that, or are you going to lean with maybe the Sharks? Maybe you saw something in that 8-0 loss. I think what I saw was just a pissed off Colorado team.
Yeah. I for me, I just think that, because like you said, I believe that San Jose is going to have a big time bounce back year. You hear it from every guy. Oh, I'm in the best shape and I'm feeling way better. Like, everyone's saying that. But for Karlsson, is like, he was playing hurt. You mean, like, not to the point where he's injured and he couldn't play last year. He's making too much money. He's going to play, but his ankle, he was not the same Karlsson. He wasn't the same guy. He didn't have the same skating, didn't have the same pop, and I've only watched a little bit of him this year, but he looks like the Karlsson of old.
Dude, he played 32 minutes in the first game. 32.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, it was instant, right? And I think I have Meyer on almost every one of my teams. Everyone was kind of clamoring to get him last year. Size, speed, shoots the puck a ton, hits like crazy. I mean, in fantasy, this guy is an absolute gold mine, and he was drafted very, very high last year. And as a person that had him everywhere last year, left a sour taste in most people's mouths, but I went back to the well this year. I think I'm going to be really, really happy with that. He's a beast. Now, Couturier being healthy, this is a good hockey team, a really good hockey team, and deeper, I think, than most people think. St. Louis is a great hockey team. For me, I'm going under on this, and I think because it's going to be just super highly competitive.
Yeah, under is probably the play. Binnington, I like him. Bounce back maybe. But yeah, this Blues team is loaded. I mean, when they add Mike Hoffman and they put him on the third line with Robert Thomas, it's like, oh, okay. And eventually at some point they'll get Tarasenko back. But I like that top line, Sanford, Ryan O'Reilly, David Perron. I think that's certainly interesting. And then there's value across the board, even in Hoffman, Robert Thomas, Jordan Carew. Like these guys are underpriced on DK. And like I said, guys, San Jose just is, as much as we're talking up Erik Karlsson and some of the other pieces that they have back in the lineup, I just don't think that they're a strong defensive unit. This is a team that gives up a lot of high danger. I think we'll see the Blues bounce back. 3 more games before we get to some DFS picks for you. Vancouver, Calgary, Minnesota, Anaheim, Arizona, Vegas. Is there you have any strong feel of any of those? Like Vancouver, Calgary, are you leaning with the over? Like a lot of goals last time these two teams played just over the weekend. Jacob Markstrom had the shutout, but we know that JT Miller is going to get back in. That's a big boost to Vancouver's top 6.
Yeah. I'm still not sure what Calgary is. I mean, it's hard to think about, where you want to put your money on an over and under, who you want to bet on to win this game, because I'm not really sure who Calgary is. I mean, I said I had them out of the playoffs, and then I watched their last game and they looked pretty good. And Johnny Gaudreau looked super motivated. Puck was kind of on his stick all the time, which is a good thing for the Calgary Flames. He's a guy that makes things happen. I think Vancouver wins this game. I like the addition of Holtby. I thought that was a really slick move by them at the price they got him at, a veteran guy to come in, kind of him and Demko to share that net, him to start a lot of games early on in the year. But JT Miller is the difference maker here. I think that Vancouver wins the game, but I think with 6, I'm just not sure what Calgary is. I think I'd probably go over there, but I'm nervous about it.
You feel a little unsettled about I'm with you, man. Vancouver, the upset on the road, whatever. It's like we talked about. I don't think you can take too much stock into home ice advantage. Like some teams will play good at home. They're familiar. They're in their own building. But Vancouver, the fact that they just played them, they were just there. There's no travel, right? They're going to wake up. They're going to play Calgary again, and they're going to get JT Miller in their top 6, who had a phenomenal season last year. Keep an eye on Quinn Hughes. If Hughes doesn't play, he does so much for that team, especially on the power play, that alone would make me lean with the under, but I still would like the Canucks to bounce back here against Calgary. Minnesota, Anaheim, I don't really have a feel on this game. I suppose like wild, I would take Minnesota, but I think the under is the play here. Watch both games, Anaheim and Vegas. The Ducks just couldn't generate really anything. I know Vegas is a strong offensive team, or defensive team as well. I just feel like Minnesota, man, Cam Talbot. Got my boy Batty to make a Cam Talbot board here today. I like him in DFS. I liked him heading into the season. I thought he was somebody who wasn't really getting drafted. This Minnesota defense, pretty solid, man. Last year, they didn't give up anything. They were among the leaders at 5-5 and just not allowing high danger chances, scoring chances. They controlled the puck. They didn't score a lot of goals themselves, Eric, but they're strong defensively. Talbot is going to have a good year, I think. I really do feel like this isn't Talbot playing for the Rangers a few years ago with holes in their blue line, or the Oilers a few years ago when he had the one good year and then, all the defense in Edmonton or the lack thereof, and a lot of pucks went by him. I think he's in a really good situation here. I don't love Anaheim's offense. Give me Minnesota in the under. That's kind of how I feel about that game.
Yeah, I'd go Minnesota in the under too. I like Minnesota. A lot of the year last year, they were not a good team, but before the break, before the shutdown of the season, Minnesota was really making a push. Like they were really battling. They were becoming a strong team. I think these is one of the best 3 defensive cores in the entire league quietly. Like Spurgeon is an unbelievable player. Suter's still got it. Doesn't come off the ice, plays a ton of minutes. Dumba's, I think this could be a really coming out party for Dumba. And me and you talked just before the show started, this Kaprizov from the KHL. I mean, he's a rookie, but he's 23. He's been playing with men for, since he was 17. So he, this is, guys, his size and speed, it's no surprise to him. He looked cool as a cucumber in the first game, got an assist, scored the next game. This guy, I believe he is going to win Rookie of the Year, which is a little bogus because he's 23, but this is still his NHL rookie season, the first time playing in the NHL. A lot of people are going to be talking about this guy by the end of the year.
They're already talking about him now, right? Yeah, had 21 minutes in his debut. He had the 3 points. He had the overtime winner, 19 minutes in his second game, picked up an assist as well. So he's got 4 points in 2 games. You're right. He is a rookie, but he doesn't look like one. He looks like a vet. He didn't do anything too crazy flashy, but he just was in the right place at the right time. He was in on
21 minutes.
Over. Yeah, playing 21 minutes in your first NHL game, 21 minutes.
As a winger. You're right. A rookie. That might be a record. I don't know. If it's not, it would actually surprise me. But 21 minutes from a winger as a rookie, it's insane.
Yeah, playing in all situations as well. He looks really good, and he's underpriced too. And he's a guy that was drafted pretty late. I don't think a lot of people they were unsure. I think some people are unsure about players coming over from the KHL. Right? Yeah. We've seen some.
We've been burnt before, for sure.
Exactly. There's been a couple in Nashville that you know too well that didn't live up to some of the hype. But yeah, Kaprizov is he's an absolute stud. I'm big fan of his. So if he's available in your leagues, just double check. He shouldn't be, but just you never know. And if you have him, don't be selling high. Hold on to the kid. He looks real good. One more game, Arizona, Vegas. I don't want to spend too much time here. Arizona, as I mentioned, watch that San Jose game, gave up a ton of rubber, ton of high danger scoring chances. No Oliver Ekman-Larsson, their best blue line, right? He's gone. The blue line is super thin now without him. I like Vegas. I like the puck line. I'm going to like the puck line quite a bit. I think when Vegas plays a lot of these teams inside the division, there's just no value to take them on the money line unless you're going to put them in a 4-game parlay. So I like Vegas. I like Pacioretty. I like the shot prop for Max Pacioretty. He's got a goal in each of his first 2 games. He got 5 shots in each of those games as well. Max Pacioretty, I know it's high, 3.5 shots, minus 155. I'll tell you what, Max Pacioretty is a bit of a puck hog. And that's what I like when I'm looking at shot props. As you see, I got Laine over 2.5, loves to shoot. Perron, same deal, 2.5 plus 110. Svechnikov, 2.5 plus 100. Tatar, 2.5 plus 135. Brock Besser, 2.5. He had 4 shots the other night against the Flames, plus 118. And then Pacioretty, 3.5 minus 155. Eric, these are all volume shooters, right? There's no good to play a Mark Stone. I watched the game the other night. Mark Stone, all he wants to do is pass it to Pacioretty, and all Pacioretty wants to do is shoot the puck from everywhere, right? He had 300 plus shots last year. He's been among the leaders over the last 5 years in shots on goal and goals. He's very similar to Ovechkin in terms of just shooting it from everywhere. There's games where he gets 6-7 shots on goal. So I'm always going to take the over 3.5. Matthews is another guy, a volume shooter. I saw him 3.5, but it's juiced. It's like minus 245, depending on, this could get up to 4.5. I took the 4.5 plus money on the weekend against Ottawa. He hit that. But for the most part, I like to just try to find those 2.5s, Eric. I think there's more value, at least on the money line or, the plus money to grab these guys. What do you think about those players that I mentioned with the props? You like Pacioretty?
Yeah. And I think, I like Pacioretty. I have him in a lot of places and bets like that with shots. He's almost guaranteed every game. He's going to have at least 2. So over 2.5. I'd smash that all day. And it translates to season long because of opportunity. He plays in all important offensive situations. The puck comes to him. We know Mark Stone is an unbelievable hockey player, 200-foot player, loves to distribute the puck. And as soon as Petri get it, it's on his stick and off his stick. He can shoot the puck, and he does it a lot. So, yeah, sign me up all day long. I love having guys like that shoot. If you're in a shots league, look, guys, it's not just goals and assists. That's a category, too. This is how you win your league, paying attention to guys that shoot the puck. It's important to have those guys in your lineup at all times.
Max is 10-1 for first goal. I would throw that one out there. JT Miller's 14-1 for first goal. He's going to have a top 6 role. I would throw that one out there for you. Edmonton Draisaitl is 9-1. McDavid is plus 950. I think both of those are pretty solid options, but the Habs are all over the Oilers. We didn't talk about that game, Montreal and Edmonton, before we get to some DK. Any feel on that? The Oilers in their 3 games, at least 6 goals total in each of their 3 games. Their losses, they've allowed at least 5. Man, the Habs really took it to them at 5-on-5. At the end of the day, it was the shots. If you're looking at the box score, you're seeing Carey Price had a really solid game, and the Oilers got 35 shots, I believe. But Montreal was all over them from puck drop to basically midway through the third when the game was already out of hand. Over?
Yeah, over.
Every Edmonton game over? I know it seems like a cop-out. We make it a 7.5 at one point with Edmonton.
Kind of this freewheeling offense. You mean they didn't do anything to improve their defense, and they did nothing in goal. Now Mike Smith is injured. I mean, these guys, Connor McDavid is going to have to score 2 goals every game for them to be competitive. It's going to be very, very difficult for them all year. Anytime, I mean, especially playing Montreal. Montreal looks really good. 6.5 seems like a lot, but I mean, I'm going over for sure there.
Yeah, I like the Oilers to at least bounce back and show us something, but I just don't think they have the personnel on defense. And it's not all Koskinen. I know a lot of people are all over Koskinen. You and I have talked at length. We couldn't understand with all the goalies moving around in the NHL in the offseason that they didn't do anything, that they didn't want to. They were fine with Koskinen. Again, it's not him. It's just the defense is not great. Like Tyson Barrie is a great defenseman. He's a great offensive defenseman. Yeah. He's not a great defensive defenseman, and they need some of those guys, right? They just need help on the blue line. All right, DK, let's go over. We got about 5 or 6 minutes here. We'll wrap up the show. Center position, Connor McDavid up at the top, 8-4. Austin Matthews, 8-3. Leon Draisaitl, 8. Jack Eichel, 7-4. Sebastian Aho was a bit of that's an understatement. He was a big letdown against the Wings on the weekend, 6-9. Tavares, 5 points already, tied atop the NHL lead in scoring, 6-7. Hurdle, 6-6. Pettersson, 6-5. Scheifele, 6-3. Anybody jump out to you?
I like Tavares. You mean, like you said, like he is playing unreal. I read a quote from him, right at the start of the year, him saying, he had a good season last year, but not the same kind of season that John Tavares has had. And he said, I don't want to have a good season. I want to be considered an elite player. I guess he worked in the offseason. Obviously, he looks highly motivated. So, at that price, I like him. And I think this is going to be a huge season for him, man. He looks like a beast right now.
Yeah, I would say the Leafs, if you can get up to Matthews, do it. Tavares at 6-7 is a value, right? He's a discount. He should be a little bit more expensive than that. And you're right. I mean, he got the 5 points, 32 DK points in his first, 20.8 in his second, and then really nothing in that third game against the Sens. But that's where I would go. The Oilers boys are always fine. I think they're great, but the 2 Torontos, if you can get there on Matthews, is fine. Down the list, we got William Karlsson, Logan Couture, Kevin Hayes, Elias Lindholm, Sean Monahan, Ryan O'Reilly, Nick Suzuki, 5-3. Absolutely love him. Vince Trocheck, Christian Dvorak, and then Mikael Backlund. I mean, I think we talked about it opening show. Suzuki, right? He's Montreal's best playmaker. There's chemistry already with Josh Anderson, scored 2 goals in his debut. He's got 10 shots in a couple games. Yeah, he's underpriced as well. I just feel, again, what we talked about, don't need to hammer it too much. Any Oilers fans out there, we love you. But the defense, there's some holes. So I think Suzuki stands out as a pretty solid value here tonight, Eric.
Yeah, big time. I love that price for him. We both, stayed in contact during the playoffs last year. That was his coming out party, and I think there was people that were doubting him. Even this year, this season, like where he was being taken in season long, I think was disrespectful to him and a positive for me because I have him. I have 9 teams, and I have him on 8 of the 9. So go Suzuki.
I've played in a lot of leagues with you. This is why I don't have Suzuki on any of the squads.
That's right.
Taking him from me. Okay. Thanks a lot for that.
He was a guy I reached for. I reached for him all over the place. He has paid me back already. I also reached for Anthony Mantha. Not so good so far. Yikes.
Hold.
I'm holding him. I'm not holding him. He's too good of a player for him to play like this for the whole year. Detroit will improve. I believe that they've got a lot of good players there, young players. They'll turn around. I still think they're going to be in the bottom of the league, but I don't think they're going to be in last.
The value at center besides Suzuki, I do like Kevin Hayes at 5'8", but as I mentioned, I think that's going to be a low-scoring game. Chandler Stevenson centering Max Pacioretty and Mark Stone. He's a value. Robert Thomas is a value. I've already mentioned the Blues. I like the Blues tonight against San Jose. And then Morgan Frost is 2.5. I mean, he's just going to get more ice time, more opportunity due to the Sean Couturier injury. So he's somebody to keep an eye on as well. But as I said, I do feel like that is low scoring, but he's somebody that if you're playing a lot of DFS, you're playing multiple lineups, 2.5, you can do a lot for your lineup. Over at winger, Max Pacioretty, Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, Kyle Connor, Evander Kane, Timo Meier, Mark Stone, Matthew Tkachuk, Andrei Svechnikov, 6'8", is underpriced. Mitch Marner, 6'7", underpriced as well. Kevin Fiala. For me, if you can get to Pacioretty, I would always suggest it, honestly. I already gave tons of reasons earlier. Volume shooter, if you can get there, I don't mind it. Kyle Connor, 7'3", think there's going to be a lot of goals scored in that game. Matthew Tkachuk, like it as well. I think the stack, if you can go Pacioretty, Stone, that's a pretty good stack. They play on the line together. They play on the power play together. If you want to put in the whole line with Stevenson, not going to get top power play, may not even get a lot on the second unit. You could do that. He could save you a little bit of cash that way. But Mitch Marner, 6'7", I think, again, not a volume shooter, which I like, but 6'7" at that price for a game, I think could see 6-7 goals. I'm into him.
Yeah. I mean, anytime Marner is a great player, and at that price, it's not going to stay there, right? Like it's going to go up. The DK will adjust as the games go forward. So you got to take advantage of those values right now when they're low. I like the Stevenson pick that you said. Hayes was actually, that's the first guy I put in my lineup was Hayes. Then I kind of built my thing around him, and he's only at 5'8", so it's a good place to start with Philadelphia. I don't think they're going to score a ton, but I think that top line is going to play a ton. He's looked really good. Giroux has looked really good. I'm putting them together as a really good stack today.
If you're going with the Oilers, you think they're going to bounce back at Yamamoto in your lineup 4-9. He's playing with Draisaitl. The chemistry is absolutely lit between those two. Some other values at winger: Josh Anderson, Joel Farabee, David Perron. Perron is only 4.8. He's mispriced. Mike Hoffman, Joe Thornton, Riley Smith is only 3.6. Riley Smith, I think Vegas could score 4 or 5 goals tonight. And then Jimmy VC from our guy, Matt Best. Loves them. Defense, Brett Burns up at the top, Roman Josi, Shea Theodore, Alex Petrolangelo, Ryan Ellis, Mark Giordano. Got Morgan Riley, Shea Weber, Dougie Hamilton. Any defenseman stand out to you? Eric Carlson's 5'8", another guy who's mispriced.
I like Jeff Petrie at 5'6". It's a good value. I think Edmonton is going to let in goals, and Montreal is looked really good, and he's looked really good too. Like, I don't get, he's not, maybe not playing on the top power play, but he's playing a ton of minutes.
Yeah, he is playing a ton of minutes, and he always lights up his former team, right? We're talking about the Oilers. They used to have defensemen. They used to have this guy. They just gave him away for whatever reason. But Petrie at 5'6", top power play time, eats a lot of minutes, loves to shoot the puck. Love the Petrie call from you. Neil Pionk, 4'7", think he's a value, top power play time. Think there's going to be some goals there. Barry's 4'3". Rasmus Dahlin is only 4. Morrissey's only 3'9". He is getting a ton of ice time as well in that first unit, first pairing. And then Gustafsson from Philadelphia. He's getting power play time as well. Shot blocker, can save you a bit of cash. I think spending up if you can get to one of the Vegas guys. I prefer Theodore over Pietrangelo, even though he's more expensive now. It started Pietrangelo over Theodore, but I do like Theodore slightly more. He joins the rush. He loves to shoot the puck as well. He's getting that top power play time. I think we'll probably see them both together at times when it matters. But for now, it's going to be Theodore on one unit, Pietrangelo on the second unit. Shea Weber is interesting at 6'1" as well. I just think there's going to be a lot of goals there. In net, if you can get to Leonard up at the top, sure. Not going to hate it. I never will. If it's Fleury, Leonard, one of those two, I think it will be Leonard. Binnington, 8'2". If you can get there, I like it. Carey Price, 7'6". The fact that he's playing against the Oilers, I think there's something to be said about rostering a goalie against Edmonton, getting some leverage, going against the field. I think most times, when you see Price against Toronto or you see Price against Edmonton, a lot of people will still want to play those players. If you're not in on Edmonton, why not go the other way and play Carey Price? I thought he was phenomenal in that game the other night against Edmonton. He had 34 saves, 35 shots. And then I like Cam Talbot. I like what I've seen from Talbot. I like the Minnesota defense. They're solid, man. They got a lot of players there. Matt Dumba, a nice bounce back year from him, I do believe. So Talbot's got the 2 W's to start. 34 saves, 33 saves, 17 DK points, 16 DK points. Anybody that I didn't mention that you like, or do you like those guys?
I like everything you're saying, and I want you to say it out loud too, because I said it earlier. We like Minnesota.
Yeah, we like Minnesota.
They're a good hockey team.
Like the Wild. It's weird. Yep. It's weird to say.
I don't know if I've ever said it ever. Since them being in the league, they just feel like this non-existent team, and I really believe in the Minnesota Wild this year.
All right, playoffs. Yes.
I
think they make it.
Yes.
I think they make it
with the defense and the goaltending and the addition of Kaprizov and some of the younger guys maturing. Yes. I think Minnesota's making the playoffs.
All right, Matt, how did the parlay do last show?
A bit of a redemption showing from you after a rough first free parlay. You went 3 for 4, nailed the Colorado money line, which is what you were most confident on. Toronto, Ottawa over, you hit as well. Washington, Buffalo, you and a bunch of people got that one wrong. And the Tampa Bay puck line, you absolutely nailed it. Brings you up to 4 for 8 for the full season. Batting 500, Meaney, not bad.
Not great.
I mean, it's better than the first week. Let's just go with that. Trying to be nice here to you.
Better. Yeah. Mayo may kick me off the show if I keep giving, offers. Today, it's early. Columbus. I like Columbus. If we get that one out in time, I like the Blue Jackets. I like the over in Winnipeg and Toronto. I like the Blues. I'm putting the Blues on there. If you want to take them on the puck line, go for it. But I'm just taking them on the money line. St. Louis, Columbus, money line. Winnipeg, Toronto, over. Montreal, Edmonton, over. And for the late night crew out there, Vegas, puck line. Calgary, Vancouver, over. And Vancouver, win. And why don't you just throw St. Louis on that one too? They're getting a W today. They're getting a W. Matt, any final words? Anybody you're feeling? I know you're a big puck guy.
I've started building my ticket so far. I'm all aboard this wild puck line right now. I think the prices are really high. So, I mean, count me as a believer there. I'm probably going to parlay them with the Blue Jackets on the puck line as well. See what I can get out of that and then go crazy.
Nice. I love it. Matt, always a pleasure, man. Thanks so much for the work. And Eric, love talking hockey with you, man. Enjoy the week. Any questions out there, you can always hit us up at the Eric Young, at Chris Meaney. Again, subscribe, rate, review, 5 stars, leave your email. Pat's giving away money, free money, people. And if you have any questions, leave them in the YouTube section. I will scan all the questions. Thanks for watching. Enjoy. Talk to you soon. Cheers.